What is up, guys? Welcome back. Today is the Sephora sale video. I'm doing my Sephora sale recommendations for spring 2022. The sale begins tomorrow, April 1st. I'm posting this a day ahead because I have an April Fool's video planned that I have been teasing for a while, and Sephora had the nerve to start their sale on this day in this place, not on today. I just wanted to warn you guys up front that it is Aries season and I am ovulating. And yesterday I was doing yoga and I decided that I'm really hot now. So it's over. You're all invited to this party. You have my permission to, if you have not already, decide today that you are hot. So this Diane von Furstenberg sweater is really helping, but again, just wanted to warn you guys up front if that's not your vibe today. So I'm gonna be sharing with you guys just a handful of the things that I love the most from Sephora right now, because to be honest, I have gotten so much less cynical about makeup lately that like I have so much stuff that I love, and it's a good feeling. I just like it, and it's like breathed new energy into my inspiration lately. But also I'm gonna share a few things that I think you should probably skip because they probably are like in a lot of people's carts and ahead of any kind of very, very deep dive like skin tint foundation video that I have not done yet. I wanted to go ahead and give you guys like an up or down on some stuff if you were to like DM me and be like, which one would you prefer kind of thing. Like I wanna make this as useful as possible. And then I'm gonna tell you guys what's in my cart as well. So without further ado, let's go ahead and jump in. If you guys don't know, the sale it starts April 1st, 20% off for VIB Rouge, and then I think it goes to 15% for regular VIB, and then insiders get 10%. It's not ideal. It's not as good as it used to be. It is what it is. We take what we can get from Queen Mother Sephora. But also, I always like to preface this with a little tiny, you know, stevia dropper full of Hannah Louise post in here on my channel and say, you can get discounts all the time on a lot of different stuff by buying through the brand's website. Even like Rare Beauty has their own website. Makeup by Mario has his own website. I've bought a lot of stuff from their websites. These places will give you a discount a lot of the time. Don't necessarily feel like this is your, oh my gosh, fire sale. It's like your one shot to like get these products on sale, because it isn't. But it's a cool opportunity, and it's a good opportunity for me to share my picks, and I always get, I don't know, you guys always enjoy this video. I think it's fun to do. So let's go ahead and talk about the things that I recommend. I just put all my picks in a bag today. Someone asked me in the greatest comment of all time, it was like the tone of my inner monologue. This comment said, is there an astrological reason you have 3 half-full glasses of water behind you? I want you to know I haven't stopped laughing about that comment. It's amazing. I mean, obviously I replied back as a yes, I'm an Aries sun, but like, it was a rhetorical question. Okay, so we're just gonna start right off the top of this bag. In Beauty Face Glaze. This has become a quick love of mine. It is a savior. It is a thing that has made makeup in my collection that didn't really work for me or wasn't as flexible as I wanted it to be in terms of coverage and things like that become, in some cases, a usable product for me. And I think that that is even more applicable to people who have a normal one-person makeup stash than me specifically, because I can on a day-to-day basis go, oh, what new release that is among the thousands of dollars that I've spent that's tax deductible for my channel, you know, do I want to reach for today? But like, I still think with my feet firmly placed on the ground most days about like the traditional makeup user who probably has one foundation, right? And that something like this can make a huge difference in making things usable that weren't otherwise usable. And I don't think it's super expensive either. So this is just a glazy, it's glazy for the glazy girl. Boy, I'm really on fire today, aren't I? I had sugar for breakfast, just a bowl of sugar. So yeah, it's like that. Kind of looks like that. And for that reason, it's hydrating and illuminating. Glow is what they say. Glow and hydrate. It has a really nice cooling effect on the skin. Has it like, I I want to say like a very, 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 very soft, pleasant kind of smell to it. I don't know if it's a fragrance, but it's a wonderful product, and it turns otherwise kind of cakey foundations or even a really thick concealer into flexible skin tints, and I love that. Speaking of very intense concealers, if what you're in the market for is a very intense concealer, I would put this at like 20% more coverage even than the Kosas. This is the KVD Vegan Beauty Good Apple Concealer. I didn't try the little compact of the Good Apple foundation. She went viral on TikTok, which you guys know as a fellow youth is always what makes something appealing to me. But I did end up trying this, and it's awesome. I really like the shade range. I really like this very unique doe foot that's like angled and kind of hard. It's not flexible. And to me, there's just something about that says, place me right here in the corner of your under eye. Yeah, so I really enjoyed that. I like it because it's very, very, very highly pigmented. So it's like if you are the kind of person who wants something that starts out super concentrated and then you can like spread it out either with your skincare or just spreading it out or with an in beauty face glaze, anything like that, but you also really like to have a nuclear option, is a really beautiful nuclear option. I would say it has a very similar finish to the Kosas Revealer Concealer, which I talk about all the time. I will still put a link down below, but I'm not going to wax poetic about that concealer today. I'm going to talk about a couple of other ones. Yeah, it's very, very similar, but more intense, creamier coverage. So speaking of concealers, this is $18 and I really, really like it. The only complaint that I've heard is that some people can't find their shade in it, which I think kind of sucks, honestly, for Sephora in 2022. This is the Item Beauty by insert TikToker here concealer, and it's great. I use it every single day. I like it so much. I have the shade 110. I just think that it like spreads out really, really beautifully, really creamy, really hydrating, but also a good amount of coverage. And it's one of those things that when you whisper it onto your skin, it just spreads out and like, it doesn't disappear, but it feathers really easily and it just like sinks in. It's awesome. I've never had an issue with it, but yeah, I have heard some people with more nuanced undertones, you know, olives and things like that, more in between shades, have trouble finding their shade in this. If you can't find your shade in this, it is so similar to the Tarte Creamy Shape Tape. But Tarte has a very, very high opinion of their formulas and they overprice everything so much. I like that because it's $18 and it's great. Not that $18 is no money, but it's Sephora. That's like almost like a Sephora collection kind of price. I haven't even seen what the price is on this. Let me look because I'm not even sure it's out yet. Okay, I don't know yet. You know, they probably put it on my PR package and I just didn't look. So if I have that, it's on the, I'll just put it on the screen. But you guys, I got this not that long ago and it is quickly becoming my new favorite skin tint. Wow, it's pretty. So this is the new Rare Beauty Positive Light. I love her names. I love her names. She is a pun queen. It goes straight to my millennial heart. The Positive Light Tinted Moisturizer Broad Spectrum SPF 20 Sunscreen. We have homosalate, titanium dioxide, and zinc oxide. So it's a combo chemical, physical sunscreen. Very interesting. They did end up sending me only one shade and it is 14W. I felt like the Il Makiage ads where they just like put a brush down their face and they go, wow, because it just like disappears into their skin. You always have me at a perfect shade match. When I put on a perfect shade match, I'm like, and I suddenly like this formula more. Such a great shade match. And I'm pretty sure this is gonna have a really wide shade range because that's kind of Rare Beauty's thing. This is so pretty. So that's what I'm wearing today. I have a little bit of like powder on it and stuff in different places, but mostly it has a beautiful dry down on its own. It has medium coverage. Actually, I would say it's like low to medium buildable, but it builds, and that's really, really awesome too. It is my ideal coverage level. It reminds me of the L'Oreal True Match Lumi. That's what it reminds me of. It's so good, you guys. I hope it's not super expensive, and I hope that it is actually, I mean, it would be wise to release this during the sale, right? I haven't looked to see exactly when this is released, but I truly love it the few times that I've worn it. It is so pretty, so pretty. I'm also going to link there's a playlist of my Sephora recommendations videos. If this just isn't enough for you, there are lots and lots of old ones that still contain a lot of recommendations that are still at Sephora that I still stand by. I will link that playlist below for you guys to check out, because there are gonna be things in my collection that I absolutely recommend that I'm not going to like exhaustively wear you out talking about today, because I've already talked about them. So this is a mind-blowing, beautiful product. This is the Laura Mercier Tinted Moisturizer Light Revealer Natural Skin Illuminator. It's different. I'm gonna actually swatch these on my hand, and hopefully this will allow you guys to see that there's a difference between these two things, because the Laura Mercier has a little bit of like a refractive quality in it. And I feel like the title kind of reflects that, right? So to speak. Whereas the Rare Beauty is more opaque, dewier, just more of a makeup. So I guess it's not even that it's more of a makeup, it's that the Laura Mercier is less of a makeup. But I feel like it covers the distance because it has this beautiful kind of light obscuring quality that makes it so that you don't have to have coverage in order to have your skin look improved and perfected. It's pretty darn magical stuff. People have told me that they like can't get past the shimmer. Maybe they can't get past the idea of the shimmer, because there's no real like shimmer to speak of. It's not like her powder that she put out where it was like supposed to be like a light reflecting powder and it actually was like an icy highlighter. It has a minerality to it, which is the word that I always use to express that kind of thing, but there's by no means glitter at all. I wouldn't wear it if there were. And I have one more foundation pick, and it is this. I'm throwing this in here, A, because it's absolutely gorgeous, B, because the shade range is lovely, and I do also have like an intoxicatingly great shade match in this. This is the NARS Light Reflecting Foundation. I have Mont Blanc, and it doesn't have silicones in it, or at least not cyclic silicones, I'm not totally sure, but it behaves like a high performance luxury foundation. It's super reliable, and my skin loves it. It doesn't have any SPF in it or anything. Both of those other ones do. So if you're sensitive to any kind of SPF, or you just don't want SPF in your foundation, but you want a really nice medium coverage skin tint type situation with a very, very good shade range, you can see that this is still more coverage even than the Rare Beauty. It is more of a foundation, whereas that Rare Beauty is very much a skin tint. So I would say that that's kind of unintentionally the spectrum, right? It's like low coverage. I would recommend the Laura Mercier because it still is so perfecting. If you are a skin tint person, this is really beautiful. I would recommend the Rare Beauty. And if you are more of a foundation quote unquote person and you still like that nice juiced up skin kind of look, but you do want a little bit more coverage day to day, absolutely. This is just so gorgeous. So those are my complexion picks. You'll notice that some things are conspicuously absent, especially as it pertains to new releases. I will get to that. All right, I have a bronzer and a bronzer and a bronzer. The first, I know I said I wasn't gonna talk about things I always talk about, but I'm talking about it because if there's anything that I could recommend, and today is actually going to be a very Patrick Ta heavy day, I mean, I just keep getting more pan visible here, don't I? Yeah, I mean, this has the superlative of probably being my like most used product for the longest because it's so stinking reliable season to season to season. This is the Patrick Ta Cream Contour and Powder Bronzer Duo in She's Statuesque. I can vouch for the formula and I can vouch for the shade as it pertains to a neutral white girl. Like an NCN15 kind of thing from MAC, because bronzers are super subjective. So it's all about whether or not you can find your particular undertone in a bronzer. And I've yet to see a bronzer range that is entirely as exhaustive as a foundation range, and still foundation ranges fall short. So I don't necessarily fault them for that, but you know, try and find somebody that you relate to in terms of your skin undertones to determine whether or not this is going to work for you. But for me, the bronzer looks incredibly natural. I'm wearing it today, and the contour is so easy to use. It's almost translucent, almost. Like it has a lot less opacity to it than, I don't know, like a lot of other ones that I've used, which makes it a little bit easier to apply at any point in my makeup routine, and I just find the whole thing to be extremely easy to use and very well conceived. So love that. Love that for us. Next, Makeup by Mario. This is the light shade, and honestly, maybe I'll pick up the light, whatever it is, Fairlight, the next one. That's kind of a contour shade because I like this formula so much. Very, very creamy, very easy to use, a beautiful shade. Just a very, very pretty, all seasons kind of bronzer shade for me. And I'll go ahead and swatch all the bronzers next to each other for reference here, because they're probably all really similar, so that you guys kind of see the tones that work for me and also the differences between these. So the Makeup by Mario, it has such amazingly consistent pigment. It goes on and spreads out over a lot of different finishes on your makeup in such an agreeable way. You can whisper this onto the skin, or you can really pound it on, and it wears super thinly even though it's quite creamy. So it's easy to work with. It doesn't have like a really powdery, silicone-y kind of feel to it. There's a reason I'm saying that. So it's more for like the cream lover, but it's a very easy to work with cream that will also work in a lot of different situations. And I always say this, but like for the price, I think this is like $28, you get 10.5 grams of product. So for like a makeup artist kit where you're actually burning through makeup, like, great value. And the third bronzer here, and the reason that I mentioned that thing about silicones is because this is the Rare Beauty, again, Warm Wishes Effortless Bronzer Stick. Oh my gosh, the finish of this on the skin. Look at that, it looks like the Patrick Ta powder, which is the one in the middle right there. It is a stick, but that is as close as it gets to being a cream product, is only in its delivery system because it is so finely milled, I guess you would say, in terms of the pigment, and the way that it spreads on the skin is that perfect hybrid texture. It kind of reminds me of like a Bounce and Blur. You know, when you're talking about like a MAC Glow Play blush or something like that, like the way that it just does a lot of the work for you because it goes on like a cream but behaves like a powder. That is what this does, and it's so excellent. I like it so very much. And I do feel like, you know, I'm not gonna go down a rabbit hole here, but Rare Beauty had some fits and starts in the beginning, but you could tell that there was so much promise to the ideas. And that is huge to me. That's huge to me. I really think that that brand is coming into its own. And I look back on some of their previous releases where I was like, huh? Like some of their eyeshadow palettes and stuff, and I'm like, wait a second, you guys were like a couple of seasons ahead. Like you guys knew I was gonna be wearing this sweater. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like they were a little ahead of their time in a lot of ways. Okay, so that was the bronzer contour category. Next, we're gonna talk about blushes, and frankly, there's not a lot new here. Still, nothing has beat out this formula in my heart, and that is the Pat McGrath Divine Blush. The colors are really gorgeous. The formula is super, super sheer in the most beautiful way. Like it builds at a really nice pace and is never patchy, is never stampy. It's so great. It's just a start to finish phenomenal product that's just a joy to interact with every single time. And I think that it deserves still a recommendation here because it's still my top pick for a powder blush. Always. It's just so good. And I told you guys today was going to be a Patrick Ta heavy day. I can't say enough about these blushes. So I love that he has two options for his blushes. So there are the sheer blushes, that the original velvet, monochrome moment velvet blushes. Love these. This is what I'm wearing today. I mean, among other things, but this is She's Passionate. It's just a perfect peachy pink. So gorgeous. And I am really getting into kind of peachy pinks as we're getting into more springtime. It's just, you know, the vibe I'm chasing. But then also, I do really love this one. It is super, super unique in its formulation as well. So this is not just a dupe for the velvet formula. It's so much more pigmented. So if you don't want a really sheer blush, this is the formula to go with. And then there are these absolutely gorgeous, very, I mean, they're opaque, but they're still really, they don't have a lot of white backing to them. So there's a lot of richness of color, but I feel like they go on in a way that isn't going to like make skin look ashy. And it just makes it look like juiced up and really healthy. The cream blushes that you're actually supposed to use on top, and it's going to give you that really beautiful kind of better than skin finish on top of the powders. Again, I think this is a really innovative thing that he did, basically packaging these two things together, saying, look, I understand that up until now this has been a no-no, but I'm encouraging you guys to, you know, mix textures because it's what really makes the difference in his looks, and, you know, I'm a believer. So the Patrick Ta blushes go a long way for me, and his colors are unique. They're very interesting. They're so interesting. And he has come out with a lot more recently that I feel like, you know what I mean? It kind of rounds it out even further, and you're bound to end up with some like very solid down the middle colors once you've got a really, really wide range. But I love that he started out with some really like muddy berry colors and like a really, really pure kind of like, you know, wild apricot kind of shade. I am passionate, you guys know, about like color theory and stuff like that. I like when stuff is off the beaten path, and I feel like he really, especially as like concise as his initial releases were, the decisions were airtight. Also, what am I wearing today? I'm wearing this. I think I might just buy the other two just in case they ever like disappear, but this is the Natasha Denona Puff Paint. And I use it all the time on my own time because it's such a perfect like serum weight. It's super easy to manipulate on the skin. So like, you know, like you don't know how much you're picking up on most blushes, especially when they're kind of like liquids on a dough foot like that. It takes a really special formula to make me reach for a dough foot blush because there's so many steps to getting it on my face. But this just, I mean, it's so easy. It just blends out so fast on top of powder, on top of cream, on top of whatever. It's really, really cool stuff. And the final blush is the one that I really feel like pulled this look together today, and I'm thinking, it's not online, but they did have it in store for me recently when I went to Sephora. The Dior Backstage Rosy Glow blushes, they come in 2 shades, and I have a theory that the new M Cosmetics blushes are basically piggybacking on this idea of making a neon peach and a neon cool toned pink in order to be obviously beautiful bright shades to wear, but also adjusters so that you can liven something up either in the warm direction or the cool direction. And that's kind of what this does. Someone did point out to me that this has the particular red dye ingredient in it that also is a little bit reactive. It's kind of what's in the mood lip glosses and stuff, but obviously not enough to turn my face hot pink. You know, it's just a little bit more adaptive. And so it does look a little bit different on everybody, but there's a lot more complexity to it than that. Very evidently, this is a shade that I like to wear regardless. And I love having this because it is such an effective adjuster. People are trying to dupe the crap out of this blush right now. Persona, Essence, everybody wants a dupe for this because it's like $38, $39 or something like that. I know that this is coming from a place of not just privilege, but also being an idiot and thinking that, you know, the sky's the limit on makeup prices, but I like having the original. I like having the real thing, and I am not really always interested in finding dupes. If I stumble on a dupe, that's one thing, or if there's something about a product that I don't like, you know, like, oh, this is really fragrant or something like that, and it makes it annoying to wear, then I'll try and dupe it, but like, I think this is a perfect product. I'm not interested in duping it. So, you know, yeah, there are some out there that people really, really like. And I do think the Persona one is like $22 or something, but like, it's a great thing to get a deal on during the sale if they restock them. And if not, I did find them in store, but like, this is just such an excellent addition to my routine. I reach for it absolutely all the time. And every time I use it, it's fun. Okay. It's fun. And that is one of the biggest selling points for makeup to me is like, do I enjoy putting it on? Do I enjoy wearing it? Does it thrill me? This continues to thrill me every single time. Speaking of things that thrill me, I'm just skipping ahead here. I've got all kinds of different stuff in here, but like, I'm going to talk about eyeshadow palettes now because I did lay off talking about this for a minute because I was such a broken record about it. You guys probably thought I only owned one eyeshadow palette for a minute. There's nothing wrong with that, but it's just not true. This is, she's kind of icky. This is the Desert Sunset palette, the, I think, newest one. I'm not sure. Moonlight might, no, I think this is the most recent release from Aether, and it's just such a fun palette. I have really enjoyed it, kind of like livening up my eye looks, especially through winter. I felt like this worked really, really well on pale skin. If I was going for, well, that's not true. I would say if I was going for something a little bit bold, but like I can get something really, really beautiful and wearable out of these kind of like washes of gold. And it also has like punches of color that are really exciting. The more I have been trying eyeshadow lately and different palettes from different brands, the more I realize why I gravitate towards and kind of come back towards home base with Aether all the time. And it's because Tyla's got a weird mind, okay, and I love it. Like, I love her creative energy. She lives in her own paradigm in a lot of ways. She might respond to the market in terms of the formulas that she develops because of the way people kind of want to apply makeup and stuff, but her color stories, they are so artistic. They're coming from like her creative soul, and it really comes across in this palette. Like when I'm wearing it, I'm just like, this is unexpected. It's something that I wouldn't have known to choose for myself, and every time I use it, I'm pleasantly surprised. It's just a really, really fun, unique color story with very interesting textures, and the textures are really easy to work with. She also has a lot of inclusivity in mind when she develops her formulas, and so like these are very beautifully like saturated blendable shades. It's a really, really interesting palette. And then, you know, I always talk about that mustard shade in Hindash's palette, this shade from her palette. It's just so useful for me. It's just such like a native shade to my skin. So I hadn't obsessed about that for a while, so I had to dedicate a little bit of time to it. The other one, and I just talked about this in my favorites video, ew. Look how gross that is. I'm not a person who's offended by fingerprints on my makeup, but like that was special. Still not great. So this is the Patrick Ta Major Dimension eyeshadow palette, and as I was tagging this in my favorites yesterday, I noticed that he's releasing a like rosy colored one. And I was like, do I really need to review this? I'm pretty sure that I'm gonna love it because I really like the textures in this, and it's basically if someone kind of like turned the knobs, right? A little bit pinky purple, a little bit cool, a little bit warm, a little bit rich, a little bit whatever. And it seems to have some really, really like interesting choices in terms of turning those knobs. But at the same time, I was like, I mean, I can pretty much tell you it's probably great. But like, is it really, really great? You know what I mean? Like, maybe we need to know that. Maybe it's like a life-changing landmark palette. Who knows? So I think that I'm going to add that one to cart as soon as it is available because I have been truly loving this. I self-owned in my favorites where I said I need to just get used to using the primers. But regardless, like I used this and only this on my eyes today. That is true. That is the truth. I mean, obviously eyeliner and things like that, but this is what I have on my eyes today, and I have never gotten bored with this palette, even though it looks like a basics palette. There's something about the choices made in the textures and the warmth here. Like, I love that he included this burgundy. I somehow love that the palest shade is actually like a little bit glittery. I love that we have like a cool toned oyster shade and also kind of a more neutral to warm like rosy tan, and that this one right here is still like, you might look at those and go, those are really, really similar. Look how much yellow is in that shade, and it's a different texture. And then these two look really similar, right? But like this color story works super, super well together because this satin is actually very different from the Celestials and very different from the mattes. So I think that I will be picking up the rosy one, and I highly recommend this if the rosy one doesn't interest you. I think I shall reapply my lip gloss now. Look, guys, I know that it is stupid to spend this much money on a lip gloss. But much like the Dior, I think that if this is your flavor of makeup, it really doesn't get more concentrated than this. Do you know what I mean? Like, if what you love is a wild orchid purple, pink, cool pink, that's very, very similar to this color that I'm wearing right now, or that Dior blush, this makes a great adjuster shade, but also, by the way, this is the Tom Ford Gloss Luxe in Love Lust, which is a mouthful. But it has that really, really gorgeous liquid lip balm slip to it. It has a very tasteful amount of a nice, pleasant, sweet fragrance. It's not flowery or anything like that. I don't taste it. I don't even notice it when I'm wearing it. I just notice it when I'm putting it on. I love that Tom Ford doesn't flavor or scent his makeup. There's just something really nice about that. But also, I appreciate that if he's going to make something like this, it is different for a reason. It's a weird color. It's a little hard to wear. It has its place in my routine, but it is so unique and it is so interesting that I feel like out of all the other stuff that I bought from Tom Ford, kind of hoping that it was going to like steal my heart based on interacting with the actual formula, but it just kind of didn't, you know? This is the one out of everything that I spent way too much money on Tom Ford makeup. This is the one product that I'm like, this is really, really uniquely conceived and well executed. So, do you need to spend, what is that? I mean, it's something absolutely absurd. Something completely ridiculous for this lip gloss. But if you're this person, you know who you are, okay? And I know if I were watching someone talk about this lip gloss and I saw them put it on, I saw them swatch it and saw this color, I would have gone, I'm that person. Crap. Darn it, I'm that person. So yeah, if you're me watching this video right now, I just have to recommend this. It feels like there wouldn't be justice in the universe if I didn't give credit where credit was due, you know? And then the final one is another probably superlative of like the most used thing in my collection for the longest is the Westman Atelier Squeaky Clean Liquid Lip Balm in Nana. It's not a hard thing to wear, the way that like this might not work with other things. Like for me, this is just the perfect, cool, beigey, nude-ish kind of lip gloss, you know? And it's really nice. It doesn't have the slippy liquid lip balm thing, but it is still really nice on my lips, and it smells like limoncello, and I will never be mad at that. So yeah, I think the Westman Atelier at Sephora has really elevated the brand's ability to expand their nuance. They have more shades, more interesting textures, a more varied customer base, and we're starting to separate Westman Atelier from the clean beauty space and just acknowledge it as really, really beautiful luxury beauty, which is what it is. And then finally, I don't know, guys. I've already said it a million times. This is not a perfect product, but it is my perfect beige. And this is Lorna Stinky Dune from Gucci, and I like it so much. Someone actually told me, I was like, I bet Hannah already owns this, and they were like, I think she wore this to her wedding. And I was like, there's really not a stronger endorsement than that from like, you know, pale girls who like dead lips, okay? And I love it so much. So again, there would not be justice in the universe if I didn't mention it. You guys would be like, what? Why didn't she talk about the Gucci lipstick? So now I'm going to touch on a few things that I don't recommend, mainly because you're probably sitting here watching it going, why didn't she talk about that one thing? So the main things are the foundations that I don't recommend. Like I recommend skipping. The first one, gonna blow your mind here. Out of everything that we are washing currently in the skin tint, low coverage, medium coverage, buildable foundation thing, this is the one that kind of falls to the wayside. I'm not saying it's bad, I'm just saying it's not good enough that I feel like I should recommend it over everything else that I've tried recently, and that is the Charlotte's Beautiful Skin Foundation. Great is good. We have gotten so many gorgeous, new, innovative foundation formulas lately that have technology in them, and I just feel like this was like a step behind. It's beautiful. It gives you beautiful skin, and if you own it, I'm not saying throw it out the window. I'm not saying you made a mistake. I'm just saying, like, if you are making a decision on your next foundation currently, to me, this isn't a contender. It's fine. It's great, but great is good. The next one that I don't necessarily care for is, I really don't care for it. It's not easy to use, and it's so strongly fragranced. So this is the Danessa Myricks Yummy Skin. Boy, you know I always talk about this, right? When your expectations are really high, it makes like the high even higher when you love it, but man, it's farther to fall when you don't, and I had such high hopes for this. And it is so stinky. Oh, it's so stinky, guys. I really can't believe how much fragrance is in it. It's like a gummy candy kind of food. Yeah, yummy gummy. It's just, It's not something that I want to put on my face. And it's so, if you already have her Vision Cream cover, like her Vision Cream cover, it's exactly the same thing. Except that one doesn't have a fragrance. Just, you know, mix it with what have you. And also that kind of goes for her Yummy Skin Primer as well. It's super fragranced, and there are other primers that, you know what I mean, that you can mix to thin your foundations out and stuff like that. This was just a miss for me. I'm sorry. You guys know every time I have invoked Miss Myricks previous to this foundation, I have used the word genius, and I still stand by that. I still think that she is a genius. This just was not for me. I The only reason I'm not mentioning this right now is because this isn't the coverage level that I've been wearing very much lately. So I just wanted to mention, I like the Rose Inc Skin Enhanced Luminous Tinted Serum so much. It's so pretty, but like, I've just been into more coverage lately. That's all. It's just been something that I haven't been reaching for as much. But if you're into something that has very, very low coverage, that's just like this beautiful whisper of a skin tint that also has some nice wear time, still behaves like makeup, not like a skincare product, but has a lot of skincare benefits. This is great. There's no fragrance or anything, and a pretty big shade range, and it's cheaper than the Chanel one. So yeah, I mean, I really, really love this. So if you were seeing that this was conspicuously absent, it's just because it's not what I've been like personally into lately, but my review is, you know, 9.5 out of 10. And something that I hate is the new Makeup Forever HD Skin. I did go back into Sephora and I got matched and I bought my shade, which is 1R02, okay? And I still hate it. I still hate it. And look, if you don't trust me, Hindash hates it too. He told me he didn't like it, and that made me feel a lot better about the fact that I don't like it. So I don't get it. It's cakey, it's heavy, I can't get it to work, and the shades are weird. They're weird, okay? Even the shade looks really strange on me. I don't know. It's just, it's not good, and there are better things. Okay, it might be time. Oh, it's time. All right, now we're gonna talk about what's in my cart. I'm gonna cover up my bald spots. I was hit by a car in 2008 and I have a scar right there. So that's why that's always kind of a bald patch. Anyway, we're gonna talk about what's in my cart currently. That does not mean that I'm going to buy all of these things or that I suggest that you buy all of these things. These are just the things that I am currently considering, okay? And there are a lot. That's why I say that, because there are a lot. There's just a lot of stuff that I am very interested in currently. Okay, first I have the Kaja Beauty Bento Bouncy Eyeshadow Trio in Orange Blossom. This is something that you guys have been insisting that I try for so long because you see how fascinated I am with like duochromes and stuff like that. And I've always been put off of Kaja because I feel like they're very packaging heavy, but then I saw this in store and actually these eyeshadows are not. They're actually very, very slim. And I was impressed with that, and so I decided to go with it. But it's like that blush that's got like a heart stamp on it. Like, I'm like, why? And I don't know if they make it anymore, but there was a highlighter that was like a roller, like a paint roller, and I was like, guys, what is this? Fruit by the foot? Like, I don't know what's going on. So yeah, I was a little bit put off by that because it felt gimmicky, but time after time after time, I've been told by you guys that the Kaja eyeshadow trios are great, and so I'm going to finally try one. The next is IDK. I wanted to try something from Guerlain. It is the Terracotta Light Healthy Glow Bronzer in the color 1, because it looks like it's kind of a cool toned, but also slightly peachy, and also might have a touch of like light refraction in it, like, you know, not purely matte kind of bronzer. And Guerlain does the meteorites, those little highlighter balls, you know, that are supposed to mix all the colors together, and this kind of chases that feeling to me. And I just want to try it. You guys know I'm kind of dipping a toe here and there into different luxury brands, and Guerlain is one that I have not tried yet, so I want to do that. I also am considering the Pat McGrath Labs Intensive Eyes Artistry Wand. I watched Amanda use this and it looked really, really cool. And lately I have been in a mood to build my eyeshadow looks and like get something that's like a wackadoodle pop. Plus, if there's anybody who can do something like that that's going to possibly expand my understanding of what's possible in eyeshadow, it's going to be Mama Pat McGrath. So I want to try it. Speaking of Pat McGrath, I also am getting another, I am getting another shade of her blush because I love it so much. So a greater endorsement might not exist than the fact that I already have 3 and I still want to buy another one, and I want to get the shade Nude Venus because I think Ted has it and it looks incredible on him, Buffalo Beauty Boy, but also I think I've read a lot of comments being like, why don't you have Nude Venus yet? Because it's gorgeous. It just looks really summery and apricot-y and it just looks great and I'm excited about it. I also have, like I said, like in my quote-unquote cart, but like you can't add it to cart because it's out of stock online, the Dior, this guy, but in the peach color, because I want to know what that's like. And I'm an appreciator of a color adjuster. So I want to know, even though peach isn't necessarily my color, I still like the idea of kind of waking up any look and making it kind of lean one way or the other and having that as an option. Speaking of which, I remember that I just said the thing about the M Cosmetics blushes. I did end up picking up the pink one. And so I'm like sitting here like talking trash on dupes all day long, but like I still want to know. Like I want to know if that one's good because I love that formula. So anyway, that's the Heaven's Glow. You guys, I have 3 of the new Laura Mercier tinted moisturizer blushes in my cart. I polled the audience. I talked to a lot of people and people were like, you should get like this one and this one or this one and this one. And I eventually was like, I'm gonna just get 3. So I have in here Promenade, which is like a really pretty kind of like rosy color. Croisette, which looks like a really nice berry, but it also looks like it has like some muckiness to it, like maybe like storm cloud paint a little bit bricky, a little bit gray. And then Provence, which is a nude blush, like a white girl nude blush, you know, nude for me. And I am into nude blushes right now. So I just want to compare it to all my other, you know, my Cocos, my Old Gums, my Westman Atelier Mimis of the world. And the reason that I'm not mentioning the Westman Atelier Mimi in this video, I think, is because it is a westmanatelier.com exclusive. Okay, on Tom Ford, I do actually, this is like one of the things that I've been putting off buying because it's super expensive. I mean, it's Tom Ford. As I'm trying all of these quads, I keep getting comments from people being like, okay, but you need to try the duos. The cream with the powder on top, and it is the Tom Ford cream and powder eyeshadow duo. I'm trying Naked Bronze. It's kind of like Oyster Pearl from Charlotte Tilbury, not in shade, but in the sense that everybody kind of talks about that one being such a marquee product for this particular, or marquee shade for this particular product. So I'm going to try it and I'm going to find out for myself. I also, again, I've been influenced, the Say Beauty Sun Melt Natural Cream Bronzer. You know, I have these Chanel ones, I have them in both shades, and I just don't find either one of them to be particularly wearable on my skin, and that frustrates me. Okay, it's $100 worth of cream bronzer back there that like I don't know how much use I'm going to get out of. I love the idea, I love the delivery system, the formula doesn't bother me, the scent doesn't even bother me, but the shades are just like not ideal for me, and I'm hoping that the Sun Melt in light bronze works better. And it's $30 instead of $50 for the same amount of product, so I will report back. Oh, yeah, I might re-up on my beauty elixir from Caudalie. I might, okay, I might. And then I also decided to pick up a Dior eyeshadow palette, not a Dior Backstage eyeshadow palette, but one of the like kind of old school quints. So it is a 5-color couture eyeshadow palette in the shade 599 New Look. I just looked at the swatches and I was like, this is just a really interesting mix of cools and warms. It leans more neutral to cool, but like it does look like I'm going to be able to get more than one look out of these 5 shadows, but that it's going to probably be like boring in all the best ways. So I have really, really high hopes for that one, but I've yet to try that formula. So again, time will tell. I also have the Makeup by Mario Master Crystal Reflector in quartz. I might have to do bronzite instead. Which one should I do, guys? Quartz or bronzite or both? I don't really want citrine, but bronzite's really, really pretty. Then I was influenced by my friend Shelby Wilson. She has been doing some, sponsored Instagram stories lately with Armani. I'm limiting myself. Should I try the Luminous Silk Foundation? I haven't decided yet, but the Armani Beauty Lip Power Long Lasting Satin Lipstick. Everything about this looks wonderful. The packaging looks gorgeous. This color looks unbelievable. I have it picked out in the color 104 Selfless, and it looks like a richer kind of like gray lavender base nude. Yes, I would like to know. I'm picking up a couple of my summertime candles, okay? And it's just always a good idea to get discounts on these things. My 2 main, it is summer, let's go, kind of candles are the Capri Blue Volcano candle and the Voluspa Baltic Amber candle. They're just classics. And you guys know I just finished a bottle of Fresh Life by Fresh, and I was like, I think you can get this 1 ouncer for less than $100. You can get like the 3 ouncer. Yeah, the 3.3 ounce is less than $100. So like, what? It's a very inexpensive perfume and it is so exquisite. It is so lovely, beautifully daytime, totally ageless, absolutely wonderful. It's got kind of like a rich, balanced jasmine sort of, I don't know, smell it, go smell it, but like I promise you, every single time I wear it, I don't know if maybe it just specifically agrees with my body pheromones, but like everyone asks me, they're like, what is that? You smell fantastic. So yeah, I'm a huge fan of it and I realized I can't live without it. And then also I want to pick up a refill of my Kosas Chemistry AHA Serum Foundation because foundation, what is wrong with me? Serum deodorant. The Kosas deodorant, guys. It's so good. And the Necessary one does come in a fragranceless now. Unscented, but it's still, I think, more expensive pound for pound. And it's in glass, which is great. So I mean, either one of those, because they both have mandelic acid as the active ingredient. So, you know, it doesn't really matter. They both work. I've used both of them, but I do prefer the Kosas. It's just my OG, you know? Anyway, did I have anything else to share with you guys today? I don't know. I'm like looking around. That was everything that I like right now, everything I'm thinking about buying right now, and everything that I don't recommend right now. That's fairly concise, Khaki. Good job. If you have any additional questions about like up or down votes, you know, leave those in the comments because A, I don't expect you to go and watch all my old videos. B, I know I didn't include everything in this. So if there's anything that you guys have been kind of noodling on and you're like, well, but you didn't mention it in this video, I'd still like to know how you feel about it. Leave those in the comments. I will be diligent about reading the comments and answering you guys, telling you like, yes, no, here's why not kind of thing. I will try to, at least for the first, you know, a few days that the video's up. And I hope you guys appreciated this. All the links will be below. And again, exercise wise decision making. If you need to counterbalance your urges, definitely go check out something from Hannah Louise Poston. She's an amazing palette cleanser as it pertains to consumer habits. Like, my channel is all about the encyclopedic collection in order to be able to compare things and decide which one is the best and which one you can skip. And she is very much about the mindset of just keeping a minimal collection of things that she loves. So we kind of arrive at the same destination, but sometimes the thought processes can kind of be more suited to whatever mood you're in. So yeah. She didn't agree to be my sister channel, but that's how it's kind of happened. I'm declaring it. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this. If you did, give it a thumbs up. If you want to keep hanging out with me on this channel, hit the button down below and subscribe. I'm obsessed with this sweater. That's the worst thing about Rent the Runway, guys, is that every time I try something on that I like, I'm like, I should just keep it. No, Khaki. Send it back. It's gonna be okay. Yeah, subscribe if you haven't already. I love you guys so very, very much. And I'll see you in the next one. My little elf ears. Bye.